Hi, this is Sandy Zuniga, the founder of Colorado Springs Town Tidings, where you can be in the know, on the go of all things Colorado Springs, delivered right to your inbox. And today I'm here with the one and only Sam Vasquez from Delta Security. And welcome.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So, Sam, you have quite an interesting story in general. I read a little bit about the form you filled out, and tell me a little bit about you. Where are you from? Are you from Colorado Springs?
I'm not. I'm actually from a town called Monessen, Pennsylvania, so it's a little bit outside of Pittsburgh. I tell everybody Pittsburgh because I mean that's what everybody knows.
Right.
Yeah, so I'm from Monessen, Pennsylvania. I was born and raised. All my family's there. So yeah, it's a great city. I love it.
Okay. So, how did you wind up all the way here in Colorado Springs?
So I was actually stationed at Fort Carson the last 2.5, 3 years of my military career. I was a part of WCAP, which is the World Class Athlete Program
Oh,
in the
okay.
Army. So if you specialize in a sport and you're top, say 8 in the United States at that sport, they'll pick you up on WCAP, and then you'll fight or you'll do your sport um, for WCAP for the Olympic, try to make the Olympics on that quad.
Oh, wow.
So you're literally eat, sleep, and train that sport. You don't do no like PT or formations or anything like that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you're go. They want army on your back. You know what I mean? When it gets into the limelight. So
So you don't have to do any fighting. It, you only have to fight for your sport.
yeah, for sure.
That was it. Great. So, um, what did you do growing up? And then when did you get into the army? And what made you decide to go into the army? And
Yeah, so I started boxing probably when I was 7 years old.
oh,
Um,
so your sport is boxing.
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
I was always a boxer. I boxed. I used to get bullied in school, and my
Oh,
dad.
I can relate.
Yeah. I mean, like that was just big, and I was a small guy, but bullying was big, obviously, like it is now. Um, and my dad, took me to the boxing gym. He's like, you need to learn self defense, and try. You got to fight your way out, kid. I mean, at the end of the day.
Yep.
Um, And so I started boxing around 7. My first tournament was around 9. I was 9 years old. I won the like novice Golden Gloves like 3 years in a row.
Oh, wow.
And when you win something, you kind of gravitate towards it. You know what I mean? It's a good feeling. So
You betcha.
yeah, so I normally did boxing my pretty much my whole life. I did football in high school, baseball, but boxing was my main focus. When 9/11 happened, I was a freshman. Yeah, I was a freshman in high school.
Mhm.
Um, and then I ended up joining the National Guard initially
Oh,
in 2003. I went to basic training between my junior and senior year, so they call that split op.
okay.
I came back for my senior year of high school, completed my senior year of high school, and then went to my OSET course as a 19 Delta, which is a Cavalry Scout. Um, as soon as I was done with my schooling, I deployed straight to Iraq in 0506 in Habbaniyah, Iraq, Ramadi, Fallujah area as part of QRF, which is the Quick Reaction Force. Um, then I got back from that deployment. Uh, Worked for another company while during the National Guard. It's pretty much like one weekend a month, and then 2 weeks out of the summer. Um,
So when
I
you
was
were in the National Guard, uh, was the reason why you wanted to go into it because of 9/11?
yeah, for sure. So yeah, when 9/11 happened, I mean, it was just like you want to do something for your country, you know, and then they all have the incentives, you know what I mean, on top of
Oh,
that.
right, right,
They tell you the free schooling, and
right.
they gave you bonuses at that time. My family wasn't well off. I mean, we lived
Right.
in the projects, so for me, it was just like, it was a way to do something positive as well as, not put any of that stress on my dad, for schooling. Um, but I never really had the time to go to school and go to college because I was
Okay.
either deployed or I was doing schools. Or we ended up being infantry division. So they switched from mechanized. So then I went to 11 Bravo school. In between that time, I was slotted for Ranger school. And then I ended up getting deployed again in 2008, 2009.
Okay.
Um,
In the National Guard?
yeah.
And
So
so when you're in the National Guard, you weren't doing the boxing stuff. It was you were
no,
actually
no.
deployed and all that
Yeah, I
stuff.
was deployed. Yeah.
And yep. Okay. I'm
Um,
tracking.
yeah, yeah. So I mean, I didn't really box really in between those times too much until when I got back from my second tour. Um, I was overweight, like meaning overweight as in I lifted weights overseas.
Mhm.
So in between, like, whenever we got off our missions, I mean, I'd have time, just helps with stress and you work out. So I was bigger muscular wise, which is out of my weight class that I would normally fight at.
Ah,
So when I got back from Iraq, my coach was like, "Hey, come down to San Antonio, Texas with us for the national pals. You can fight at a heavier weight class." And I told him, I'm out of shape, man. I'm not in boxing shape. Yeah, I'm in
right.
shape, but I'm not in boxing shape. He's like, don't worry about it. It's paid for. He's like, we're paying for it. He's like, just come down and do it. We miss you being around. And I was like, all right. So I went to the National Pals and I got the bronze medal, being out of shape and in a heavier weight class, losing to the number one guy, barely. And then that's where WCAP was. So WCAP was at that national championships. I never even know what WCAP was. I didn't never heard of them.
Right.
None of that. The coach came up to me and was like, "Hey, I heard you're in the army." And I was like, "Yeah, so I'm a National Guard, but yeah, I'm in the army." Um, he was like, "Well, we want you to try out for All Army, the All Army sports boxing team." And at this time, I was already talking to my commander back in my unit because I wanted to go active duty. Um, I wanted to go to Ranger School, but then I also wanted to go to Q course for Special Forces. My best friend um, is in third group, and I wanted to go with him, like together, both of us. But WCAP, they talked their magic, and they was
They
like,
made
hey,
you an offer you're gonna refuse.
literally, like I was just like, it's like, dude, listen, you eat, sleep, and train this sport. And I'm like, man, if I can get a bronze medal at the National Pals, and I got a silver medal at the National Golden Gloves. Um, I've had over almost 300 amateur fights.
Wow.
I was like, what would it be like to eat, sleep, and train a sport, get paid to do it? Yeah, I mean, like how high could I actually get to? I mean, how good I could I be?
Right.
So I ended up going to WCAP or All Army. I went to All Army. I won All Army 2009 or no, 2010. 2010, I won All Army championships. We went to the All Armed Forces where you fight the best of the Marines, Navy, and Air Force.
Okay.
I knocked out all those guys.
Wow.
So I was the All Armed Forces champion and All Armed Forces champion in 2010 and 2011. Um, and then we also went to SISM, which is the World Military Games. So it's pretty much the best of the military in the world. So you fight against. I fought against Hungary. I ended up losing to France, who was the Olympic bronze medalist. I never fought internationally, so I didn't have the experience, with those guys. But I ended up medaling at the SISM World Championships, which was really cool, cool, a good experience. And then they move you to WCAP. At WCAP, you have benchmarks. So you have to place top four in a national tournament
Okay.
or win a national tournament to maintain WCAP, like your position at WCAP.
Right.
If not, they'll release you and send you back to your regular unit.
Okay.
So it's pretty. I mean, you're talking strength and conditioning in the morning, boxing in the mid afternoon, and then you would spar every other day at nighttime. So you would train 2, 3 times a day every day except for Sunday.
Right. Wow.
You know what I mean? So
But that's your job. So,
yeah,
you know,
literally. I mean, that's your job. Some people, regular Army guys used to get jealous and, like all these guys, think they're special. And it's like, not. I mean, if you're good, if you're good on a sport and if you enjoy a sport, I mean, try out for all Army. I mean, anybody can do
yeah.
it. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Everybody's awarded the chance, you know what I mean, to get there. They have wrestling, taekwondo, bobsledding. I mean, they have shooting, everything.
Right.
A lot of people just don't know they have that opportunity to do that.
Right. I didn't know. So
Yeah.
that is very interesting. And also, I mean, you have the discipline and
Yeah.
you're all of the traits that you need in the Army are there. You're doing it, but you're doing it for the Army. So even though, and you paid your dues too in the reserves. I mean, you
Yeah.
were deployed and everything.
Yeah.
So this is not, oh, Mr. Fancy Pants. So, I mean, you were working hard, just as hard as
Yeah.
they are. You just were not in the same environment, but you were
Yeah.
still representing the Army, still representing the US, and, doing
Yep.
what you were being paid for, just like they were, just in a different capacity.
Yeah.
Obviously, there was a need for the athletes in the Army, or else they wouldn't have that.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, it's a big recruiting tool too. You know what I mean? If people were in sports are like, man, if I can get paid to do this outside of sponsorships, I mean, you can't take sponsorships. There's pros and cons to it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Especially now. I mean, that's why, like, so I was the Olympic alternate in 2012. I made it to the Olympics. So the Olympics is the top 8 fighters in the United States. All of us are pretty much national champions that they fight, and then we go to a double elimination bracket. Errol Spence was number 1 in our division. I was number 8, because Army or the U.S. Armed Forces always gets placed last in the seeds, which is, it is what it is. So we fought the number 1 guy day 1. I lost to Errol Spence by like 3 points, who was the number 1, which is pretty good. And then I dropped to losers bracket, fought my way, beat all the national championship champions, and I ended up losing again. And then they asked me to be the Olympic alternate for 2012. At that point, I have to make a decision. If I become the Olympic alternate, I'd have to extend my contract because my contract was up in 2012,
Okay.
January 7th. So if I become Olympic alternate, that means I have to extend in the military,
Right.
which then I could do another quad, probably retire out as a coach, and then be done. Um, or I'd have to get out. I can get out and I can turn professional in boxing
Okay.
because you can be a pro and still be in the army, but you're not going to have anybody invest money in you if you can still deploy and die. I mean,
Sounds
that's just what
sounds
it is.
rational. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because once you become a pro, I can no longer fight in WCAP and I have to go back to a regular unit. If I go
Oh,
back to
right.
a regular unit, we're susceptible of getting deployed again.
Yep.
And so pretty much investors aren't going to invest money in you. So I ended up getting out of the military in 2012. Um, and my dad started his own promotion company in Pittsburgh.
Okay.
Um, and I fought. I was probably about, I think it was like 9-0. I ended up becoming 9-0 before. I was 6-0. I got invited to Vegas under Golden Boy Promotions, and fought at the Hard Rock Casino. I won that fight, and then that was the biggest promoter. They offered me a contract. I had a lawyer. I was smart about all my decisions.
Yeah.
Um, they pretty much offered me a prison sentence. I was like, no. Uh, and then I fought more with my under my dad's promotions, and then Mike Tyson called me and was like, "Hey, hey, Thami, I want you to fight on my card." And like it was pretty cool. It's really surreal, right? I mean, you're
Uh-huh.
Mike Tyson. I mean, calling you. So
Yep.
I fought in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, against one of his another fighter who was 7-0 or 7-1. I think it was like 7-0, something like that. And I got dropped the first round. It was a flash knockdown. I got right back up. The bell rang, so we went to our corners,
Mhm.
and my coach was like, "You good?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm good." I said, "That was nothing. Don't worry about it." And went back out and knocked him out in the second round.
Well,
And and Mike Tyson. I signed with Mike Tyson, gave me a really good deal. I ended up getting to ninth in the world. I fought on Showtime, ESPN, Fox. I held two world titles.
Wow.
And so yeah, done in that sense. I've done a lot in my life.
Yeah, you have. And
Yeah.
there's so many lessons in, every piece of that in general. So then what happened when you stopped that? And then, so how did you get back to Colorado Springs if your family was in Pennsylvania? And then how did you get out of that? And then we were getting into your own business.
Um, my wife. So when I was stationed here, I met my who now is my wife. Um, and when we met, she was dating somebody else. I went to a fight party. She was dating somebody else, and we were all supposed to go out, like a group of us, all supposed to go out. I ended up getting sauce on my shirt, and I was I was pretty upset because I just bought that shirt, and I'm like, now we were supposed to go out to the club, and then she came up to me. She's 21 at the time. She came up to me and was like, "Hey, I can get that stain out of your shirt." I looked at her side. I was like, "What?" She was, "I can get that stain out of your shirt," and I was like, "All right, bet. Let's see it." Yeah, I mean, like I was like, "Hey,
Right.
anyone who knows how to get stain? Like girls ain't like they used to be."
Right.
And so she turned around and asked the guy she was dating, and she was like, "Hey, is it okay if I get a stain out of a shirt?" And he was like, "I don't care." You know what I mean? But so I was like, two things. A 21-year-old who knows how to get a stain out of her shirt was raised right. And then she also asked if he was okay, comfortable enough with me out of respect to take my
Yeah.
shirt off to get the stain out. Right.
Right.
She ended up getting the stain out on my shirt. And I turned around and I told the dude that she was dating, and I knew him. I was like, "Hey," I said, "I'll tell you what," I said, "if you don't marry her, I know I will." Just as a joke. Just
Right.
as a joke. Well, they ended up not working out. And then pretty much a year later, or 6 months later, I seen her at the club, Copperhead.
Mhm.
And I seen her there, and from that day forward, I've been with her for 14 years.
Wow, that was
Yeah.
it. That's a
So
true love
I
story.
went back to Pennsylvania for 6 months when I got out of the military, and I came back for her.
Oh,
So I
okay.
came back, and it was a good training environment. Plus, I've been training here for boxing. With the WCAP team. My coach was here. This is Olympic Training Centers here, so I had credentials for that. So a lot of opportunity for the training side of stuff, and also, more importantly, like my wife was here. So
For the love.
yeah, yeah, for real. It's like seriously. And then we got five daughters.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah,
You're a girl dad.
I am 100%. I kept trying for a boy. It wasn't happening.
Well, that's your fault.
It is. It is. It is.
We have no control over it. It's all you guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, good. And
So,
so how old are they?
my oldest is 17.
Okay.
I have a 17-year-old, soon to be 18, a 16-year-old, or a 15-year-old, soon to be 16, a 12-year-old, or 11-year-old, going to be 12. I got a lot here. I gotta think about it. I got a 6-year-old, and then our youngest daughter, we ended up losing. We ended up
Oh, I'm
losing our
sorry.
youngest daughter. She was stillborn.
I'm sorry.
It's you know what, super tough to lose a
Yeah.
kid. I lost friends. I lost even in war and stuff like that. Losing a kid is a little bit different. As a man, we have a emotional attachment. You know what I mean? Women have physical and emotional attachment. And so when we lost her, my wife had to go through full-term labor, and all that stuff. I had to really rely on God. That's I'm not trying to bring faith up or anything like that, but
If
I
that's
needed,
who you are, you know,
yeah,
that's who you are.
I needed to lean on something, and
Right.
that was my rock for me because, you know, I was very much raised like, a man's man, and I'm the rock. I gotta be there. At the end of the day, bills keep coming. Death doesn't have no, they don't have no regard for you. It doesn't matter. My
Right.
kids still need to go to school. Things still need to be taken care of. And at that point, like my wife, I almost lost her due to the baby. And this was during COVID time.
Oh
So
my goodness.
they weren't even going to let me go in back into the emergency room for any of that stuff. And I was like, listen, I don't, you're talking to the wrong guy. Like, I just lost my daughter. I'm not losing my wife either. Yeah, I mean,
Right,
it's not gonna happen.
right.
So they ended up bringing the whole like team in to do everything. The charge nurse was amazing. She walked me through the whole process of what's going on and all that stuff. So it was a very traumatic experience. That's still my daughter. I still say I got five daughters. I mean, I got four
Right.
living and one's an angel. And so, but yeah, so she was actually born March 5th, 2020. And but yeah, I always keep her, always mention her every time.
Yeah.
You
And
don't realize how big of a club you're a part of until you're in it. And I
yeah,
don't, women go through, I mean, I didn't realize how many times this happens, right? Because I mean, I'm just never been a part of it.
right,
You got, um, what's the miscarriage? You got miscarriage, stillbirth, and then SIDS, right?
right.
Like and I call them as like levels, right? I couldn't imagine having my baby alive, you know what I mean, and
Right.
being here, and then all of a sudden not being here, like seeing the growth of your baby and the laughs and the smiles and then them being gone like that. I couldn't imagine that side of stuff. So it's very surreal. And Colorado doesn't recognize stillbirth babies. They don't give you birth certificates. They only
Um,
give you a death certificate. I mean, so you get hit the first year you get hit with every month of that day. So March 5th, April 5th, like all these different days. And
right.
then you get hit with the death certificate. You got to talk to mortuary. Like, and this is all stuff that it never goes away. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's very tough, but we get through it. We just had her birthday not that long ago.
True.
So
True. How's your wife doing now? Is she physically okay?
yeah, she's physically fine. I mean, in the beginning, a lot of depression. You know what I mean?
Right.
She's very much so a doer. Like she's always motivated, and she's a realtor, so she goes out and she does her thing. Now being it happening a couple years ago, she's a lot better now. I mean, she's
Okay,
focused,
good.
rejuvenated. Every year, we send flowers to the hospital for the first baby girl that's born at the
Okay.
hospital as a honorary thing, or remembrance. And but you know, it's something that's relatable,
Right.
unfortunately. You know what I mean? And it's something that my wife has now for as a passion, you know what I mean, to relate to people and
Yeah.
to be able to understand, like, listen, I like we're a support group, you know what I mean? Same with me is like, guys who struggle with PTSD or depression. I struggle myself, you know what I mean? So it's like I have friends that I go to if I'm struggling, and we use that as a way to support each other, through difficult times,
Yeah.
and I always say like God doesn't put you through nothing that you can't handle. You know what
Right.
I mean? Tough
Even
as
though
it
when
is.
you're going through it, you don't necessarily know that at the
You
time.
question him. Oh, you
Yep.
question him. Yeah, you know
And
what I
you
mean?
become a member of a club you never wanted to join.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Well, thank you so much. I mean, that was very personal, and I appreciate you trusting me enough to, share that. So thank you.
yeah, absolutely.
So then, and I'm sorry you had to go through it. So then you're here, and then Delta Security came. So how did we get to Delta Security? You're a
So
man's man, so you definitely want to keep everyone secure. I get that.
yeah. So I was actually working for another security company. They were a local company here. Before I started my own company. The guy who owned the company, took me under his wing, helped me out, taught me everything, that I needed to know. And by the time I was ready to branch off and do my own thing, he was supportive of it. and encouraged it, which was really cool. And so I actually started my company last year and I was the general manager of his company for like 4 years.
Well,
So, me branching off and doing my own thing was a big jump. But I wanted to be a veteran-owned business. I was very um, driven when it came to, helping military and helping veterans. There's things I wanted to do a little bit differently. Um, and so I opened up Delta Security. I have a great reputation already. I've won. I've just got a call that I was one of the winners for the 2024 best in the Springs
oh,
for
good.
security.
Wow.
And you got to figure I was only open for like 5 months.
Oh, wow.
I mean, but just because of my reputation from the previous company,
Right.
a lot of people followed me and like they love my customer service side of stuff,
Right.
you know? So I was very big into customer service, very big into no contracts. I don't believe people should overpay for equipment. And a lot of these other companies upsell on a lot of stuff that people don't need because those sales reps get bonuses.
Right.
You know what I mean? And summer programs are about to hit. So you're going to have these bigger companies out there that are going to be sending college kids out to make a paycheck. They're going to knock doors, sell people in long-term contracts, and they're going to leave and go back to their state. And people end up having to call a 1-800 number for service,
Right.
you know? I want to be a game changer in the industry. I want to be different. And I think so far I've been doing great and doing a lot of things right.
Right. So, what area do you service? All of El Paso County?
Yeah, and so Pueblo to Denver
Oh, okay.
right now. Eventually, I'll start growing. I'll get satellite buildings in those areas and expand. It's just really hard to find good workers.
It
I'm an
is.
I'm an honest person, and I know that's weird to say in a sales industry, but like it's hard to find people who are authentic and genuine and really just want to help people and
Right.
not just after the dollar.
Right.
You
But
know
you'd
what I mean?
still need to make enough income for all those,
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
for
Let me
your
say it's like
family to provide and also, for other things too. So, there's a balance between that.
yeah, yeah.
Authenticity always, and make sure that you're producing um, what's best for the customer, and then everything else should fall in line. And since you've got a great reputation, so what does with your security business, walk me through kind of what what you offer and what you do, and how, when you're going through it, how is it different than others, and why would I need this?
Yeah. So, security for me, I do monitor security systems for residential and commercial buildings. I do CCTV cameras, which are hardwired cameras, not wireless cameras. That's probably one of the biggest differences between me and other companies is
So tell
hardwired
me what
cameras.
the difference, why do you like wired better?
Hardwired cameras don't need internet to work. That's the biggest thing. Liability wise, I don't want if your internet goes out or you know how sometimes your internet is spotty or if a
Right.
camera's too far from your router, it lags. So you'll see somebody walk in and it skips,
Right.
right? It's internet. Hardwired cameras don't need internet to work. So if your internet goes out, they still record. You can look at them on your TV in your home with or without internet, and it's a fluid motion. So there's no lagging in there, none of that. They're just overall a more reliable camera than a wireless camera. Yes, it is way more invasive as
Right.
far as installation side of stuff. That's my job, not yours. You know what I
Right.
mean? Um, Wireless cameras are great. I'm not dogging wireless cameras. I just dependability and reliability is always my biggest thing. I don't want to keep coming back and fixing stuff when it should already be working. That
Right.
like I don't like if you invite me over, I hope it's for a beer or something like that, not to
Right.
come back and fix it, Wireless cameras are probably like one of the number one service calls in the industry. That is also a segue to for other companies to make money,
Okay.
service calls.
Oh, right. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you got these multi-billion dollar companies, who sell wireless stuff, and then they end up not working. Then you got to call, and then it takes like a week for them to come out or 2 weeks to come out to fix it. And it literally takes them maybe 30 minutes to pop it back online.
Right.
And then they charge you a bill. And it's
Yeah.
like, why are you charging me for something that should already be working?
Because it's a machine, a money-making machine.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like for me, I do the hardwired cameras. It's worth it for me as a smaller company. I got to pay a tech either way.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, if I don't have to pay a tech to come out and fix it, then, I'd rather just be done.
Right. So it doesn't need an internet to go into the box, but do you need it, you need the internet on for you to monitor?
So that's for the cameras. Can't the CCTV cameras are self-monitored. Okay. Meaning you don't have a monitoring company, um, monitoring your NVR system, right? NVR is a network video recorder. So
Right.
all the cameras get hardwired into the NVR. That's how they get power and that's how they record the data. Um, that's separate from the security system. The security system has a control panel that has like it that correlates with the door, window sensors, glass break, motions, all that stuff. That's monitored by a monitoring company and that's cell driven. So cell unit, whether it's Verizon,
Okay. Gotcha.
AT&T, that has nothing to do with Wi-Fi. It has Wi-Fi backup,
Right. Okay.
but it's cellular based. So if you lose Wi-Fi, it doesn't matter. The security system's still going to work.
Okay. And for Delta Security, your business, do you offer both options for you to
Yes.
monitor and for, okay, tell me how. So if it's self-monitored, you go in, install the hardwire and all that kind of stuff. And as a customer, I'm set. And if I have any problems, I call you. If, I want to upgrade or anything, I call you. But basically, you're just there in the background if they need something because it's already set up. As opposed to then, if they want and actually you to monitor. And so if you can speak to that a little bit, and then
Yep.
why would, I know you do commercial as well, so I'm assuming more commercial might have that. Do private uh, customers have that? Does some of them have that? And why would they need it?
No, so cameras are self-monitored. Security systems are always monitored. I won't sell just the security like panels and sensors and stuff like that just for the door chime because they won't have access on their phone at that point, and it's literally it'd be cheaper for you to go to Best Buy, you know what I mean, or something like that and buy that stuff.
Right.
And I'm
Okay.
just being honest, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? The camera side of stuff, you can go to Best Buy and buy those cameras and things like that. They have a warranty for a reason. Once that warranty hits, they're more than likely to crap the bed because if you think about it, that company will never make money if they don't fail.
Sure.
You know what I mean? I have a lifetime warranty on all the products that I install. So if something goes bad in 5 years, you know what I mean? If a camera goes bad, you'll never pay for a new camera because I'll replace it for them at no cost.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
That sets you apart.
I mean that's a big difference. I mean, I install higher end stuff, but because I need it to work efficiently and I want to make sure people are actually taken care of. You know what I mean? So I can monitor cameras for businesses or residential places, but residential homes really don't need camera monitoring, but my monitoring company will monitor cameras. And so each camera that I have has trip lines and intrusion alerts. What that is the motion side of the camera. So if the camera's recording 24/7 all the time, you want a motion side of things. You want an alert if somebody
Right.
comes on your property. You don't want every squirrel or
Right.
every deer or every movement or a vehicle, come in and it gets monotonous and people end up shutting the motion off, which defeats the purpose of the security system.
True.
So we can set all the cameras will be popped up on a TV. You'll literally set a trip line, say across your driveway. You'll take your mouse and analytically in the camera, you'll draw a line across the driveway and you'll save it. When you save it, anybody who walks across that trip line or walks across your driveway, it's going to ping your phone and let you know somebody's there.
Wow.
Businesses, I have like TOC cameras. They flash red and blue lights and have a siren. You can also schedule that. So the siren only goes off at say 8 at night till 5 in the morning or 6 in the morning. The trip lines will come on. Somebody walks across the trip line, it's going to flash red and blue lights and siren at you. It also has two-way audio, so you can talk through it. My monitoring company can also talk through the camera, and they all can also dispatch the police and watch them on the camera and let them know which way they went or where they're at in the building and all that. That's what you pay for when you're monitoring businesses and the cameras themselves.
Right.
So, but it's good because it helps. I mean, I'll give you an example. I just had a company, it's a card company that I secure. Prior to me, somebody broke in to their card shop and stole over $50,000 worth of stuff.
Oh, wow.
And the alarm company or like the monitoring company didn't call. None of that stuff.
Wow.
Like the alarm went off, which is you could see in their order cameras. You can see him run and get away, but so they did get away. But the monitoring company never called, dispatched the police because you have to make sure as a company you have a permit on file. They
Right.
didn't have a permit on file.
Right.
Um, you know what I mean? And so they ended up switching to me. I got them all set up with cameras, monitoring for the cameras, everything that he needs, you know what I mean, for that to make sure that that won't happen again.
Right. Right. Got it.
So,
So when I'm just curious in
you're
general,
fine.
um, in Colorado Springs, because that's where my subscribers um, are there certain areas that you find either you have more customers in, whether it's business or residential, or that you find should really have more monitoring, have more, security?
I probably would say that I used to probably be able to specify, but I think because of all the new builds that are happening and how big Colorado Springs is getting, the areas like Murray and airport Murray and like Security Y Field, like those areas are not are almost. I mean, we're Falcon. You're getting hit up in Falcon and Peyton area, and people are breaking into stuff. I got people across the street from me, and I live out east here on 5 acres by Schriever Air Force Base. I got people across the street from me that are still in RVs, and I mean, there's really no specific area. Hey, you should get this. I always tell people it's better to have it than not need it than need it and not have it.
Right,
You know what I mean? I'll get some kickback. The police don't show up, or this and that. The object of a security system, when you're home, is to make sure that you wake up as soon as they break entry, get your kids to a safe area, get your gun if you have one or if you need one. You know what I mean? Our job is to call the police for you. Whether you
right,
call the police or whether I call the police, same thing's gonna happen.
right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So the monitoring company is going to call you. You just let them know, yes, there's a burglar in my house. They'll dispatch the police. They'll tell you stay to a safe area. And then, they handle the situation. But at the end of the day, most of the time, people break into houses and are gone before the police show up.
right.
You know what
Well,
I'm
they're
saying?
also breaking into cars and so if you have your
Yeah,
trip line where your car is,
exactly.
now you're not only just covered from, the house, now you're covered
Yeah.
from your property. And there's a lot of car theft and, all kinds of goofy stuff going on.
The intrusion box is good for that. So when you have cars in your driveway, you literally draw a box around your vehicles. And as soon as they appear in that box, and if they stay in that box, it's going to keep pinging your phone, and letting you know that somebody's breaking in your car, or somebody's still in your car. So it will wake you up, from your phone keep going off. So
Right,
that way you can catch them in the act. That's a lot of problems. People break in and then they look at their videos, but they shut the motion off because they're so tired of the false alarms
right,
that, you know what I mean? So this eliminates the false alarms, make sure you're more secure and protected, and you're able to apprehend them in the middle of the process. You know what I mean? Versus them already being gone and hey, now you're making posts on social media. If anybody sees this car or anybody sees
Right.
this, like,
Right.
so
Yeah, that's interesting, and that is great to know. That's something I didn't know, and I'm learning a lot from,
yeah,
what you're talking about. We have cameras too, so I'm familiar with some,
yeah,
but you just taught me a whole bunch of other
yeah.
stuff too. So
Well, you look at security systems, right? Security systems, people have sensors on every window, have a glass break and a motion. I mean, it's a lot of overkill. I'm not now if that's what you're comfortable with, that's fine. If you're gonna ask my opinion, I'm not a fan of motion detectors and I'm not a fan of window sensors. As long as your windows are locked, the only way for somebody to come in is break the glass. They
right.
break the glass. One glass break can cover every window in a 25-foot radius line of sight because
Uh,
glass break picks up the pitch and frequency of the window pane being broken.
oh wow.
If you have a motion detector, I'm not a fan of those either because those are proactive, not or those are reactive, not proactive. And what I mean by that is somebody breaks in your basement, walks into the basement, then your alarm goes off while they're in your house already at that point. A lot of times they're just like, man, I know I got this amount of time. I'm good. I'm gonna do what I need to do and get out.
Right.
Glass break trips the alarm when they're still outside, so that gives them 75% chance of them running away and saying, "Oh, I'm not going in here. It's secure."
Right.
You know what I mean? So, um, there's a lot of information that I like to give out to people. I mean, just on a personal level.
Yeah.
I'm not here to upsell them on a bunch of stuff. You know what I mean? I'm just going to give you what you need. If you want more than what I maybe recommend, that's fine too. It's your house. Whatever makes you feel comfortable.
Right. Right. You're a smart guy. And that's very appreciated for a company to have that approach and not always looking for the upsell.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, hey, if it's there and somebody wants it, you're not going to deny it, but
Yeah.
you're going to just let them know what it is. So, how can people, for Delta Security, how can people find you?
Delta Security Inc. On my Facebook I'm primarily on my Facebook more than I am on my website. Um, so Delta Security on Facebook. Um, they can call me. So all my cards have my personal number, even the numbers on my website, deltasecuritysystems.net, has, a Pueblo number, Colorado Springs number is my phone number, and Denver is like a Denver number. They all go to my cell phone. Everybody gets my personal cell phone. So if they have a problem or issue, they call me directly, not a 1-800 number.
Right,
So yeah, they can call me 719-200-4897. Look me up on social media. Sammy Vasquez is my main profile. They can follow me on there or just on my Delta Security page.
right. And you have quite a bit of videos in general, so, they
Yeah.
can always, get a feel for you.
Yeah, for sure.
Great. So then thanks so much for that. Now I know, on top of everything else,
Yeah,
you decided to create a nonprofit.
I did.
Tell me what it is and why you created it.
So there was a customer who had another company with an orange sign. I'm not going to say no names.
Okay.
And she was locked into a 5-year contract. Her equipment wasn't working. And so she reached out to the neighborhood pages and was like, I'm in search of a security system. This company isn't getting back and fixing my stuff. I got blasted on social media about it. I messaged her. Um, she proceeded to tell me, I've heard about your company. I would love to support a veteran-owned company. My husband is a veteran. He was on the Ranger Battalion. I said, that's awesome. I said, deployed with some of the Ranger guys, 506, in support of them. I said, so I said, I'd love to meet you guys. Maybe on Monday we can talk. I'll come by, see what you got going on, and see how I can help you out. I said, and me and your husband can talk and, talk about, our stuff.
Right.
He was like, unfortunately, you won't be able to talk to him. She's like, he ended up taking his life in October 13th, 2022, from
Oh,
severe PTSD. And that initially just crushed me. You
Right.
know what I mean? I was like, oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. It's another brother gone.
Right.
You know what I mean? And from the effects of war. Um, and so I told her, I said, I'm sorry to hear that. I'll see you on Monday. I said, and I'll see what I could do to help you. I already knew from the jump she wasn't paying for nothing. Like I'll find a way to get the money or get the money to pay for the equipment and the installation. Um, and she don't have to pay for anything. But I'm not gonna tell her. I'm
Right.
just
Right.
gonna surprise her. So I went to her house. We figured everything out. Everything that she wanted ran her about 3,500 bucks. So I was like, okay. I said, you gonna finance or would you rather pay it up front? And then she was like, I'd rather finance. I said, you're still under contract with this other company, right? And she's like, yeah. I said, okay. I said, I'll have my finance guy reach out to you. So okay, thank you so much. I left. She had a little boy, 5 years old too. I left and I called my finance guy. I said, hey, listen, here's a lead for you. I said, see, act like you're going to finance it for her. I said, but she's not financing nothing. He says, okay, say less. So called her up, all that stuff. We ended up going there. We installed everything for her. So my father-in-law, who's an Army veteran, he's my camera technician. So, and I had another technician with me. She was sitting on the couch. I was like, hey, so we're done. Let's show you how to work everything, do all this. She's like, awesome. She's like, I didn't get no paperwork to sign for like the financing. He said I was approved. And I was like, yeah. I said, so here are a group of all the businesses. And I gave her all the cards that pitched in. I said, you don't owe me nothing. You don't owe me no money for the equipment. It's all paid for. The installation's paid for. I said, you just pay the monitoring. It's $40 month to month. I said, you know what I mean? You don't ever have to pay for anything being dead again. None of that stuff. She like broke down. I also got a boxing gym here called Triple Threat Gym. And Coach Lev is the owner of that. And he gave her son a lifetime membership, free
Oh,
membership to
wow.
the gym. So he don't ever have to worry about, if he ever wanted to box or anything or jujitsu, he can go to the gym at no cost and train.
Wow.
Um, from her, because of her, like I wanted to do that again. Like I felt amazing. And I'm like, man, why can't I do this for more Gold Star families? Or she's actually a White Star family. So White Star is, or somebody who died from the effects of war,
Okay.
via suicide or anything like that. Gold Star are actually in war and die, at war. Um, and I was like, why can't I just help everybody like that? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, and then so I thought about creating a nonprofit called Gold Star Valor Foundation. I created that so that way Gold Star, White Star, eventually Blue Star, Silver Star families can have a veteran-owned business, make sure they're taken care of and secure, not taking advantage of them, and all the equipment and stuff be paid for, and not them not have to be in debt because of that. You
Right.
know what I mean? Like that's huge for me.
And feel
Like,
secure.
yeah, and with solid stuff. I mean, I'm not, it's not cheap stuff. So I'm putting good equipment in there because I'm not going to be represented as a veteran. I'm not going to be represented as somebody who's trying to take advantage of people or give them cheap stuff. And if I'm paying for it and they're not paying for it, and I'm paying for it out of the nonprofit, and they don't have to pay for it, I'm making sure it's high class. They're taken care of. They don't have to worry about that last thing. If their loved one is no longer here, then his family's secure. You got a brother taking care of you. You know what I
Right.
mean? So, like I said, everybody gets my personal cell phone. You know what I mean? Something happens, call me. You know
Right.
what I mean? If it's emergency, call me twice. Because
Right.
after hours, you know what I mean? Obviously, I got family. I got
Right.
family. But shoot me a text. You know what I mean? I want to be there for as many people as I can, many military veterans, and to be able to do something like this is big. I don't know why other companies haven't thought about that, but maybe their heart's not in the right place
Or
because
they just don't know, it's not on their radar either.
yeah,
Or they don't know how to start it and stuff. I mean, obviously you
yeah,
had to figure it out too, but not everyone's like that. What I find is though, there are a lot of different charities for Gold Star. When
yeah,
you told me about white and blue, and now I know what white is. I didn't know what the rest of them were. So um, I think you are also going above and beyond to a certain segment that is underserved and undercared for, possibly. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not in that world, so I could be
Yeah, yeah,
wrong,
yeah, yeah.
but it feels like it because I've never heard of the other colors.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to do. I mean, I'm starting with the Gold Star and White Star families. Eventually, once I raise, it's all about raising money, right? If I once I raise enough money, um, then I would love to facilitate everybody that's in the military, just in general. If you deploy, know your family's taken care of by a veteran-owned business. I mean, I got your back. So that's where my heart is. I do not take money or pay myself out of the nonprofit.
Right,
So a lot of people that do, they take advantage of nonprofits, which is why they're so, looked at, about are you making money? There's people taking salaries out of nonprofits. I pay for the equipment and I pay for my technicians to install it out of the nonprofit. The monitoring side, that's where I get paid. If I
right,
charge them $40 a month, monitoring doesn't cost me $40 a month. So if you have a security company that's telling you, oh, it's $70 for monitoring or this, it's a lie. Not
right,
true. Doesn't cost me $40. I make about half of that. So $20 a month residually. You know what I mean? Not a lot. You get enough
right,
people, it'll be decent. But
right,
starting out a business, no, it's not a lot. But eventually it's all about helping out and doing what you can to make sure people are better secured, somebody they can trust, somebody they can call on, not a 1-800 number, get passed and shoved to the side. And another veteran-owned business helping other veterans and even, I mean, even civilian people. I mean, it's,
right, right.
you know, so I have my first charity cornhole tournament coming up, but,
Right. When
for
is that?
that, that's April 4th and 5th. And we have a lot of veteran-owned businesses. Wackadoo Brewing is doing my Gold Star lager. I actually went there and they allowed me to create my own lager for it. So they'll be selling it at my event. Black Hat Distillery is going to be there. Chops Customs makes my hat. So this is my Gold Star logo. So they made this for me in
Nice.
this hat. They're a veteran-owned business, Special Forces veteran-owned business. Um, Pork around and find out. They're a barbecue company. They're a veteran-owned business, so they'll be doing my barbecue there. Um, and I have a Gold Star Valor jersey, competition jersey
Okay.
that people can purchase from Squared Away Apparel, which is a veteran-owned business as well. I actually have my jersey and I have Remember Our Fallen, and I have over 470 names of all the fallen heroes in Colorado. That includes police and fire department.
Well,
So,
is that being auctioned off?
I don't know, I'm selling them for $50 a jersey.
Okay.
So if people wanna purchase one, they can reach out to me to purchase one. Um, but that will I want to be able to, like, all those people on the jersey, their immediate family. I would love to find out, who their family is and maybe just give them a jersey so they have it, so they know
Right.
their loved ones remembered. But it's important for me to make sure nobody's forgotten. I also, I'll end up posting this here pretty soon on my page about the jersey. You're the first one that I told.
Okay.
Um,
Well, I'll get it out there.
yeah. But on that jersey, I'm also gonna say, hey, if your loved one's name isn't on here and he was born in Colorado or he was stationed here, deployed out of the units out of here, or any of that, please message me because it ain't nothing for me to add a name if need be because I don't want to forget nobody.
Right.
I do Run for the Fallen every year,
Okay.
um, and so you know what Run for the Fallen is.
Uh-huh.
So 115 miles we run. Um, I have all the shirts from Run for the Fallen, so I was able to get obviously the names from all the fallen heroes that they use. So if there's anybody that's forgotten, I mean, please do not hesitate to reach out to me. I'm not being disrespectful. I'm not trying to forget
Right.
anybody. I would absolutely put their name on there.
Right. And is the jersey, the proceeds from that go to the Gold
Yes,
Star?
the nonprofit. Yep.
Okay.
Goes to the nonprofit. The hats, the Gold Star hats go to the nonprofit. Anybody want to buy a hat from Chops Customs. Um, and then
So where is the cornhole tournament on April 4th and 5th? Where is it located?
so 355 North Page Road, Colorado Springs. It's out here by Schriever Air Force Base.
Okay. Is it a
So
business?
no, it's a 10-acre lot. One of
Okay.
my best friends, he built an 80 by 100-foot barn on it.
Uh,
And so we're throwing it in the barn. There's also, we'll have bounce houses for kids, so it's kid friendly. I'll have auction items from other local businesses that wanted to pitch in. Um, I'm looking at having camera kits auctioned off, so if people want cameras and even a security system, they
Right.
don't have to pay for. But there's a lot of other local businesses here that have pitched in for the nonprofit for the raffle side of stuff as well. So
Right.
we got a lot of traction.
Sounds amazing. How did
Yeah,
you pull that all together?
I have no idea. Heart, literally heart. When you're passionate about something, it's
Right.
easy to talk about, and good things happen to good people. You know what I mean? And I really am a good person, and I just want to help as many people as I can. And it seems like a lot of people are picking that up and giving me opportunities to, like yourself, you know what I mean? Giving me opportunities to be able to advertise and tell people about me. I don't knock doors. I don't do that
Right.
stuff. I'm strictly referral based.
Right.
So, any kind of word of mouth is great. And people like you and KRDO picking it up and,
Right.
putting on the news the Monday, the week of the tournament. I'm looking at possibly if I can get a chance on being on WTF radio. They got 2.1 million followers. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so it's like, I have a lot of opportunities. My wife has a huge network too. She's the national co-chairman for all of Military Network for EXP. So she has a lot of pull in a lot of places where I can get spread my name out more. So it's just nice and I just love it.
So how can people get involved in the foundation? And so a few things. One, how they can learn more about that. And two, do you obviously you always could use donations and stuff, but can you use volunteers?
For the event, I mean, yeah, I can use volunteers. I mean, I have my kids, come in and watching kids on the bounce houses. We're doing 50-50 or we're doing 50-50 takes, raffle tickets going around. I have a set of custom cornhole Diamond Series Pro boards, um, throwing mats, two sets, a set for each side, throwing mats, and as well as score tower that I'm raffling off. It ran me about 1,200 bucks. That's going to be raffled off at the end of the event. So it's the 4th at 6:30 p.m. We're doing a big switch Julio. What that means is you'll do say a 4 game round robin with different partners based off of PPR, which is points per round.
Okay.
You'll have an A side and a B side. The A side will partner with the B side player, so that way it's fair and it's fun.
Right. Right.
And then we'll do it into a double elimination bracket.
Well, you
Do
know a lot about tournaments,
I
so
do, yeah. Yeah, we love. I mean, my best friend that owns that
uh-huh.
land. He's actually my partner for the U.S. Armed Forces Championships for cornhole. So we played on ESPN a couple times for that. But so it was like, it's a no-brainer for us to throw a cornhole event. Everybody loves cornhole. Everybody loves beer. And if it's for a good cause, and you get some cool items,
Right.
let's do it.
So beyond the tournament that's coming up and the fun day,
Yeah.
um, how can people find out more about the foundation and what can they do to help?
So I have a website that I just did. I'll get the name for you. Just
Okay.
because I want to make sure, because I had it, because a lot of people have Gold Star and a lot of stuff.
Right.
So I have to make sure that, what I mean, it wasn't taken, when
Right.
you do that. Um, so let me get you. I know you're on a time crunch here.
No, 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 you're good.
So the website that I'll give you here in a second. Also, uh, I share everything on my Instagram page. So I have a Gold Star Valor Foundation Instagram page
Okay.
that I share to my Delta page.
Okay.
also on my Facebook page. So I'll post things on there so it shares it piggybacks because Delta is obviously correlated with the nonprofit as
Right.
far as like the monitoring side and all that stuff. But uh
So you don't have a Facebook page specifically for the
not for Gold Star yet. I'm in
just
the
the
process.
Instagram. Okay.
Yeah, I'm in a process of doing there's a lot. It's like, you're
I
trying to
know.
manage everything at one time.
Yep.
All right. Let me see here. Sorry.
No, you're good. And Gold Star Valor Foundation is quite long. If you did just
Yeah.
had that, that would be like once you get a branded email address, forget it.
Yeah, literally. It's like
Yep.
I've been trying to you know, starting a nonprofit is not easy, right? Because there's a
Right.
lot of things you have to go through, a lot of
Red tape
um
and
yeah,
making sure every T is crossed and I is dot.
yeah,
Yep. That's why I
yeah,
haven't started one.
right?
My heart's
So
there, but the rest of the stuff is just like,
yeah. So it's goldstarvalorfoundation.com.
oh,
So
it
I just
is.
wanted to make sure it was .com, not .net. I didn't want to say the wrong thing.
Right,
So the
right.
goldstarvalorfoundation.com on there. So this is my vision. Okay.
Okay.
There's a donate button on there. On there, every Gold Star family that I help, I want to put their loved one on that page and then have them write a little story, a little biography about them, who they were as a person, what unit they were with, what kind of husband he was or whatever, son, all
Right.
that on my page so they never are forgotten. Also, I'm going to maybe do a shirt that has like Gold Star Valor Foundation, Remember Our Fallen on the back, and then a QR code to their loved one on
Okay.
my page. And then people can purchase, so family want to purchase that one of those t-shirts, proceeds will go back to that family, and I'll be able to help raise money for that individual family as well. You know what I mean? So a portion will go to the Gold Star, and then a portion of that will go to um that specific family, like the wife or this, the mother. Yeah, man, I think I want to try to get back as much as possible. There's a lot of back behind the scenes stuff that needs to happen,
Right, right.
SEO guy deals with all that stuff.
Yeah.
But my goal is just to raise as much money for that family, particular family, and that will drive traffic to my website. You know what I mean? Also help raise money for the foundation, but also help raise money for that specific family too.
Right.
So there's a lot of stuff I want to do with this. My wife's very much, holds the reins back a little bit because I'm just like,
He
I got
needs
this
to.
idea. I'm gonna do this, and she's like, oh, let's do one thing at a time, Sam.
Yep.
know? And I'm like, oh, but I like, all right, if I have to.
Yep. I'm like you. I get these ideas and then it's just like beep, 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 and I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, how do I do it all?
But
And then it's just
well,
like, okay,
it's
hang
not
on.
just that, right? There's so much more involved in it. It's not, yeah, it
Yes.
sounds great, babe, but you gotta
Yep.
this and this. I was like, oh, all right.
Great. Well, thank you for that too. Is there anything else you want to share that we haven't covered?
Um, no, not really. I think that covers everything. I mean, about my security company and my foundation, a little bit about my life.
Right.
So
Yep.
yeah.
Okay.